Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching my video tonight. I'm going to be sharing with you, telling you about vocal fry, especially it's called a vocal fry cry that I'm going to be sharing with you. The purpose of vocal fry is that it connects your voice between your registers without pressure, without straining your voice in any way. It's also going to give you new tone quality. It's going to give you precision and help you when you're attacking notes. It's going to give you accuracy when you are hitting notes, and it's also just going to build your dramatic presence in the lightest way possible. When you are thinking, or when you are dealing with vocal fry, with this vocal edge, you're going to be focusing on a light chord function. The resonance and the volume and the fullness of your voice will come later. What you want to be thinking about right now is just using the lightest amount of your vocal cords. What's happening when you are working on your vocal edge is that you're literally, if these are your vocal cords, you are literally just working on the inner edge of your cords, just the smallest part that is touching. What it feels like when you are working on your vocal edge is that it's going to be very relaxed. It's going to be a very light sound. You're not going to be having a deep, heavy sound in any way. It's going to be a very thin sound and very focused. It's going to feel as though you're holding your breath back just because the cords are so close together. The cords are so zipped up, but when you are working on your vocal edge, it is only the vocal cords that are going to be at work here. It should not in any way feel strained or compressed. Here's a nice tip that you can remember is that you can use the edge without compression. So you can work on vocal edge without compressing your vocal cords in any way, but you can't have compression without using the edge. The edge is going to feel very focused and very vulnerable. It's going to feel like you don't have any control over your voice, but it's just very important. The word you really want to think about here is relax. You should not feel anything pulling or straining in any sort of way. What this is going to sound like is it's going to have a cry-like quality in the upper range, kind of a and when you are in the lower range, this is going to sound like an Elmer Fudd kind of gravelly, edgy sort of sound, like a whoa. When you are working on your vocal fry cry, it is very important to have a trained ear so you can listen that you're using the right technique. It's also, I'm going to demonstrate for you what the vocal fry cry is. It's also important to make sure that you are not engaging the swallowing muscles in any way. If you are engaging the swallowing muscles, you're basically just going to be tightening and straining everything in your throat here. All of your muscles are just going to be strained and pulling up. So what you want to do is you want to put your thumb under your chin like this, and when you swallow, you can see these muscles go down and you can feel them move. So what you want to do when you are doing this vocal fry cry is keep your thumb underneath your chin like this to make sure that these muscles are not moving in any way. You're not engaging the swallowing muscles. You're literally just using the very smallest part of your vocal cords. So this is what your vocal fry cry is going to sound like. Like I said, it is going to be extremely relaxed. The entire time through that exercise, I could barely feel I couldn't even feel anything on my vocal cords. It is just a very, very relaxed exercise. It's also important to note that when you are doing this, you want to take a smaller amount of breath than you normally would when you're singing. That's because your vocal cords are allowing only a very small amount of air to pass through. So if you take a really deep breath, and then you only let a small amount of air out at a time, you're already causing pressure on your vocal cords because all of that air that's built up is trying to get out, but you're only letting a little bit out of a time. So when you do that exercise, make sure you only take a small, normal speaking type breath. You don't need a lot of air for this exercise. It's also important when you're working with this vocal fry cry is that you're going to be building layers. You're going to start with the simple foundation of this vocal fry. Like I said, it's very weak and vulnerable and just very light. With time, it's important to remember that this is a process, not an instant result. With time, you will then add on more layers like resonance, focusing on where you're sending the sound in your head. And then you can add on volume and fullness of your voice, but it's really important to just start with that vocal edge, working the inner edges of your, of your vocal cords. Like I said, it's going to give you precision in your voice. It's going to give you pitch accuracy. It's going to give you a new tone quality. All these things, you just got to start. You got to be okay with starting really small, focusing on the small things like just the inner edges of your vocal cords in order to achieve the big things that you want to get to. We always want to get to the big parts of a song or be able to attack high notes and everything, but we got to work on the small things first, like this vocal fry, in order to achieve that. So just keep in mind that this is a process, not an instant result, and thank you so much for watching.